In this video, I just want to talk about the syllabus, kind of like what we would do if we were having an in-person class, and this was the first day of class. So obviously I know you can all read, and so you don't need me to be reading to you every minor detail here, but at the same time, I just find it useful in general if someone is able to um, just talk about things in terms of what's being covered. Okay, so with that said, um, email is by far the easiest way to contact me. Um, we're not a, I'm not a inbox zero kind of person, so my inbox always has a lot of things in it. So there may be times where there's a delay in me replying to you. If the delay is long, let's say more than a day, then I may have forgotten about you. It's nothing personal, but I may have forgotten to reply to you, and so that would be when you should, um, you know, remind me, send me another email, and I'll totally be able to reply to you. It's not my general way of doing things, but it happens is the best way to put it. I put down my physical office location, but that's not really something to be relied on because I'm not on the physical campus that often. And then I list my phone number. You could call it if you leave a voicemail. I do get an email that a voicemail was left for me, but then it's serving the same purpose as you just emailing me. Here are CRNs. We're obviously meeting online in an asynchronous format. Here are my office hours. I'm not going to be, I say that they're going to be conducted via Zoom. If you want to meet with me, just send me an email and then I'll create an invite. We don't have to meet at just these times. The university requires me to list some times, and so, I'm doing what they asked me to do here. I'm just listing some times. In some sense, these times they're not made up. It's just a time that I'm generally free. But if you want to meet with me to talk about anything going on in the class, then there's your opportunity. Here's our description of the class. It comes from the university, so it's not something I wrote myself. And then I have my description of the course. In my description of the course, we essentially have a course that, is it. We look at how a macroeconomist views the world and their perspective on things. And so, we hear about terms like GDP, unemployment, and inflation. So you've heard about those terms undoubtedly before. But what we do in this class is we're actually able to look at them more seriously. And then we talk about how other groups, namely how the federal government and the central bank also influence things. These are the learning outcomes. And then essentially, I'm going to be assessing you based on 4 different things. Analysis papers, these are things that you write. So we use these rather than discussion boards or forums. This way, you're not limited on how quickly other people submit their things and whatnot. You just write it and then I comment back to you. There's going to be homework assignments for most chapters. And each of these things I'll make a separate video about, so don't worry too much about it yet. Quizzes, we'll have 5 quizzes. These are kind of like mini exams to prepare you for the exams. And then we have the exams themselves. Okay, 1 second here. Sorry about that. And so the exams themselves are they're equally weighted, and my exams are pretty straightforward, and I don't really like too many surprises, so things should be okay there. Here's the textbook we're using, Macroeconomy Today. The entire charges for this book, it's already been added to your student account through the IDAP program, so you don't need to do anything except watch the separate video about how to activate everything else. Okay, here's our important dates to keep in mind. First day of class, last day of class, when to drop, that sort of thing. For our classroom policies, try not to be late on things. This sounds a lot harsher when I say under no circumstances. I try not to be that harsh. With that said, there's limits on how lenient I can be, but you don't want to have to put yourself in a position where you have to ask me to extend something, because obviously then there's a chance that you might not get that extension that you need. So, and we don't have a lot of deadlines, so there's not a lot of reasons why you should be that late. If you need an accommodation, please reach out to Access Services, and they'll get me that accommodation letter needed. Some students find that they need additional help outside of class, so that would be where you go to the Noe Yao Center and they have tutors in economics. Obviously, we try in this class, and I would hope throughout the university, to be free from harassment and discrimination. So in some sense, this is here because it's required, but also it does reflect even my belief that, in terms of how I deal, obviously, with all of you and how you deal with me and each other, we should all, not be mean people. I don't know how to say it in a more sophisticated way, but there's there is no leniency for being engaging in discrimination or harassment. It's code of conduct, which you can read. Academic honesty, the things you submit should be things that you wrote. And even if you are one who's going to use, I can't stop you from using ChatGPT. I know there's other instructors that are doing their darndest to try to stop people. I expect that some of you will. But what you submit, I'm treating as yours then. And ChatGPT, to be honest, is not great. So I feel like you're almost going to do more work using ChatGPT than just doing it yourself. But what do I know? Here's our grading scale as is given to us by the university. And then obviously when you take these things, you take your scores by the grading weights to get a total score. But I'll be able to keep your grade up to date pretty easily. And then here's our schedule. With this online class, we do not generally fall behind. And so we're going to do our first exam here in the middle of September. So everything then that's related to these 4 chapters, the exam, the quiz, and the analysis papers and the homework, all are due on the same date, September 17th. Then we have part 2 of this class. Everything is due on October 22nd. So we really only have 3 big deadlines: September 17th, October 22nd, and December 1st. So we just have 3 deadlines. And that's it. That's it for our description of the course. You, again, can read the syllabus, but I'm not told very often that my syllabus is complicated or that my rules are complicated or anything like that. So I guess that's why it took less than 10 minutes to make this kind of video.